What's going on, everyone? Train Freak here, and today I am putting out a video because I have been challenged by Jac Jac to do some type of switching maneuvers. So today, in order to be able to complete the challenge that Jac Jac has presented, I am bringing in my Rock Island local. This is train number 34. It's coming out of Little Rock, and would theoretically be coming to a signal that is going to be saying it's got restricted speed. And that's because anytime you're doing anything in a yard, you're going to be restricted on the speed that you can go. Restricted speed is going to be 10 miles per hour. I do not have my AccuTrack to make sure that we're going 10 miles an hour, but we're going to be somewhere in that 5 to 15 mile per hour window. Train number 34 is carrying 8 cars. That includes the caboose. And we're basically going to block these 2 cars onto 2 separate tracks. Now, our train had to stop because my runaround is only long enough for 4 40-foot cars. And all of the cars in this train are 40 feet or shorter. So it went ahead and disconnected well before the switch, before the runaround. So that way our locomotive can pull these cars up on the yard ladder so it can break away and then basically run around and into a shoving motion. Now, of course, it had to stop there to make sure all the turnouts were aligned properly. And as you can see, the Pacific Fruit Express reefer car is in the process of clearing that turnout for the runaround track. Now our locomotive has disconnected from the small cut of cars, and it's going to be pulling forward onto track number 4, which is basically just a yard lead. Track 4 does not store any cars except for the locomotive and the caboose if a train terminates there. And then now it's going to go ahead and start making its way around that cut of cars. Now, since it's going ahead and running around the first cut of cars, the locomotive is going to go ahead and connect to the rest of the train. And after aligning the switch, it will also connect to the cut of the train that it ran around. So now the locomotive is going to be doing a shoving and pulling motion simultaneously. So as the locomotive connects to the cut of cars, now he's going to have to pull back so that way we can shove those 4 cars in its proper track. So as the locomotive is shoving the 4 cars, fortunately we were lucky that all 4 of these cars are actually going to go to the same track for destination. The train will actually stop just short of connecting to the cars that are on that track to do an inspection to make sure that none of the cars that are currently sitting on that track are derailed or off the track. And also to make sure that the handbrakes are tied up. Because if something was to happen and they coupled onto it and then noticed that a car was derailed, well, then it would be this engineer and conductor's fault and not the previous crew that would work or leave those cars behind. Alright, so now our train is going to back up. We have 4 more cars left. So it's going to have to back up and clear the switch, and then it's going to do basically the same thing that it did on the last cut of cars. It's going to go ahead and it's going to pull up, so that way the caboose on the end clears the turnout that goes to the runaround track and allows our locomotive to run around on the back side of our caboose. Now that our locomotive has ran around the last cut of cars, of course it's going to have to pull back just to make sure that they can get the switches lined up. Now in this instance with these cut of cars, the first car has to go back to track number 2. So if our runaround was long enough to do 5 cars, we would have did 5 cars, but unfortunately 4 40-foot cars is the max limit. So the wood chip hopper and the other box car, they will end up going to track 3. Now, just like before, this as they're moving on to track 3, our train's going to have to stop prior to connecting to one single box car that's already on the track. If there was nothing on the track, then they wouldn't have to do a prior stop. Now, of course, we didn't do a prior stop when we connected to the rest of the train on track 2, and that's because we already dropped those cars off. So that track was already inspected from the get-go. But this one here, we got to stop, and then we can move and connect to drop our cars off. And then all that should be left connected to the locomotive is going to be our caboose. And the locomotive and the caboose will end up moving to track 4. And it's hard to see because the locomotive is actually behind that last car that we set out on track 2. So a little bit about this interchange. It is actually shared between 3 locals. So the Rock Island local will service it, and then we have a local trains number 61 and 62 that come out of Jonesboro, which is my upper station or staging. And then also trains 63 and 64, which will come out of the Pine Bluff yard. So those are the different, you got three trains or 3 turns that are servicing this interchange. Now, the Rock Island, as it's getting ready to go back to Little Rock or its staging track, it will also service 3 industries located in this town. So sometimes there's some instances where some of the cars that it just got done setting out will have to move cars to and from the industries to the interchange, or it could be picking up some of the cars. Alright, so now train number 34's work is complete. So we're going to go ahead and shut our engine down and turn a light off, and we're going to call it done. Thanks for watching, and happy railroading.